No.
What?
Live.
We are live. Thank you, Charlotte. We are live. Somebody keep track of me. Okay, committee, I've already told Cameron we are striking the section of whoever's gonna do the Zorro side, that we are striking the section that does the tax exemption for Wake Robin, because it's our understanding that they already get the ability to deduct the cost of long-term care insurance. We're not prepared to let them deduct anything else that the average citizen doesn't get to deduct. We are taking out the section that makes ADUs and VHIP tax exempt for 3 years, thinking that you get increased value. You can rent, or you already get a state grant to help do the renovation, and there's just this limit to our generosity. Yes.
But in the normal sequence of things on the floor, since the appropriations report will be voted on before our floor amendment, these sections will already be struck. It's still a procedural
they're
question.
temporarily struck. The standard procedure is that if they come over in a bill and there's money attached, and that includes tax expenditures, meaning you aren't going to collect tax, everything goes in the wall. That was the discussion about the downtown tax credit. I've never done a $2 million increase in a tax credit and not have it go on the wall, because in the end, they're going to look at what we've got for revenue with where the economy is in June. They're going to look at all the expenses that are out there, and they're going to then decide, and they'll have us in on occasion to choose. So when they take it out, it's still being taken out with the recommendation of a committee that it stay in. If we ask to have it taken out and it's taken out, then they can take it off the wall and tear it up, because it's no longer moving.
I don't
That makes
disagree.
sense.
I'm just wondering how this amendment will be framed. If it's a floor amendment that usually is occurring after the appropriations amendment,
We'll just tell them this would permanently remove that from the list that appropriations would be, and they will have to vote to approve it. And we will take it down to economic development in the morning. I suppose as the reporter, I'm going to have to do that. And we will tell them this is what we're going to do. I think we will wait and vote it out until tomorrow afternoon, first thing, because we told the secretary's office that they might go home before midnight, and we will bring this up tomorrow, or I will, once we vote it out and decide on it. And given the reaction, we might, from economic development, we might decide to change something, we might not. And they will stand up on the floor and say, we brought this proposal to them, they like it, they hate it, or they'd like it tweaked.
So I'm not disagreeing with anything you just said. I'm just structurally asking how we frame these amendments when there's other small changes we want to make to the bill, and then also this striking language that the appropriations will be striking. So I'm just trying to wonder how we frame
This, I think, John, tell me if that's how you understand this word.
I will admit, for the first portion of this conversation, I was reading emails, so I thought you guys were discussing unrelated things. But I know that Cameron and I discussed yesterday, Cameron brought up at a team meeting yesterday, the oddities of some recent amendments and how to navigate this. So I think we can have a plan in place to deal with that.
I mean, normally this, if our recommendations pass, then that would remove these sections from consideration by appropriations. unless they decide on their own that they get lobbied, which wouldn't be the first time to put them back in. But it would be over the advice of the committee of jurisdiction. This is ours. We make this decision based on our area of jurisdiction. What's good tax policy? What do we want to eliminate from taxes? Which is a different focus. If you're trying to encourage things, I've never seen a bill that was an appropriations bill like we saw this morning out of economic development. You like to give money to businesses when you're trying to stimulate them and get things going. And then you have the money committees that say, maybe. So this would be our recommendation. And if it's voted, that would be the position of the Senate.
Well, I think the issue when we're talking about the Wake Robin exemptions is what's fair.
Mhm.
And what we did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever we put this in originally, I thought that was fair.
Mhm.
Pulling it out, in fact, opening the door up entirely, I don't think is fair.
Yeah.
And, you know, while I was not enthusiastic about it,
I think since Wake Robin didn't seem to initiate this, it may have come from a constituent in Wake Robin who has an accountant do their taxes and not know that they are getting a deduction. It was a major issue.
right, so if we take down what's there for that, it reverts to where it is right now,
Right.
which is what we thought is best we could do crudely to make it fair in the first place.
Yes.
That was the intent
Yeah.
of the original bill we did several years ago.
So I think that's
And
where
I'm
we.
fine, I'm fine, I'm comfortable with that,
Okay,
close enough for government work.
okay, so we're doing the two strikes. Then, John,
Okay.
Mark Collins has explained to us in detail the difference between subsidies and tax rates. And I think the will of this committee is we've been told that it is a lot more complicated than that, and us saying we want you to do that that any housing development is complicated and there's all kinds of gives and takes in order to make a project pencil out or to make it work. And so it was suggested that if, the more we talk about median, and we got given a slip with median incomes and median rentals, and that we leave or put in the purpose of this bill. It is to encourage the development of workforce housing. And you can lean out down payment assistance, all the rest of it that's in there.
Was the term moderate and low income housing? Is that what Chris from CHD encouraged us to use?
I think it was moderate, low income. Yeah, that may be a better term.
So,
And I think it wasn't the bill purpose, it's the program's
The
purpose.
program.
Yeah, the programs, the
Purpose of the infrastructure pro tip is to encourage the development of low and moderate income housing.
check.
Check.
Yeah.
And then we keep our hands off of everything. We put a sunset on it for 6 years, and that after 5 years, there is an evaluation, I would hope, by Pepsi, to determine how much and what kinds of housing we have actually developed. And it is also, I guess, when there were priority housing projects that got exempt from Act 250, that they had to do an annual report, so we are going to ask Pepsi to report to us annually on the number of units and types of units that have been permitted and what, and where they are in the process, if they're in permitting, if they're under construction,
Uh,
or they're built. And that means that developers don't have to be asking for people's income tax statements and we have been convinced that these more complicated we make this, the less likely it is that an already carried developer to partake in the program. Does that make?
yeah, so my question is, do you want me to, so those are clear, update the purpose section, sunset 6 years. And require both an annual check-in on the permitting pieces from Pepsi, and then after 5 years, an evaluation of total figures, housing developed, kind of housing, to whom they're available. Those are clear, but in tandem with the rationale that you laid out, are you asking to strip out the affordability pieces that are in the existing?
I think the definitions, yes, of
Okay, so
50% of
Get rid of affordable
all of that,
housing and
AMI.
Okay.
Because it's been pointed out to us that you might have to build 5 bigger houses to make it work financially with 3 smaller houses. And after the well, we will know if all we're getting are, and it's primary residence. Low to moderate income primary residence.
Okay,
Okay, then when you're doing the when you're doing the permitting and when we're doing the evaluation, if all we're seeing are second homes the first year, we're going to probably hold the program.
so encourage the development of low and moderate income.
Primary residence.
And that would include rental and
Yes,
home
Yeah.
and purchase, homeowner.
Both owner and rental.
Yeah.
but owner occupied.
And the evaluation would be both on the purpose and also the what are they, Chris?
Outcomes.
The requirements that Pepsi has to follow. The project criterion,
Okay,
that you have this
We haven't
in
even been-
on page 35. The process requirements and the project criterion. So what is are the projects meeting the purpose and those criteria?
oh, okay, almost like an auditing type.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the other little thing is on bottom of page 30 in the definition of infrastructure improvements.
Yes.
Delete
I think I know
commercial and industrial
That's
facilities.
We think that was a mistake on the part of the committee.
that.
And we decided to leave in, amenities
Yeah, I think so.
and digital. All right.
And then
That works one?
remove sections 18, 19, and 20.
Yeah.
Oh, you did that already? I'm sorry. It's out of the room.
Oh, sorry, 18, 19, and 20 are part of the broader bill, not,
Yeah.
okay, they're not
Yeah,
related to chip.
No.
Okay,
They're not, I think they're not even your section,
Yeah.
but
They're
Cameron's.
tax exemptions.
All right. It's in the room.
They're not tips, but they're ours. Okay.
Okay, I think I have the request, yeah.
Can you have that by tomorrow morning?
Oh, for sure.
Then if we can email or tell them housing and ask if I can have 5 or 10 minutes tomorrow around 9. Me, I'm a reporter on this one.
who am I asking? So,
Ask their committee assistant, because that's probably the only one you're gonna find. If we can have a few minutes tomorrow morning, and they can just notify Kiki. health and welfare when they can see me and I'll come down. We have amendments to their bill. I will take that down. You will stop there from being blows or anything. And then, given, you know, what we hear there, we will vote that out first thing tomorrow and then bring it upstairs. Sound like a game plan?
When you say we,
Me, we will vote it out. I will carry it upstairs since I am the reporter.
do we need to be here?
It will, let's have 1:30. I'm still on last
Okay.
week's time. 1:30. That will be the first thing we do. 3 minutes in and out. Yes,
I was like waiting for the time for it to be here.
it is 4:30. No, and, they can, I will read health and wealth. No, actually, we are on the floor at 1:00 tomorrow. I have asked Ashley to pass over this bill tomorrow so that we can, get this, have time to make sure that everybody is copacetic.
Nice.
Okay.
Super.
Thank you. I think that's it. No, Ted, we haven't gotten to you yet. We did, but we changed things, so I'm assuming that's going to change your fiscal note.
Yes, to temper that to my fiscal office, it would change my fiscal note, just generally speaking, on the CHIP program, we did not provide an estimate.
Right.
Right, it's impossible to
Yeah.
estimate, but we'd like to generally comment that as you remove definitions of affordable housing and increase the scope of projects that could qualify for this, you're expanding the potential risks to the education.
We
Yeah.
we know about addition and inflation and, because we're getting that report back annually, we will have a real control over what kind of expenditures are going out and how those numbers are taken out. So I think that makes me feel more comfortable that we are going to be keeping a very tight eye on the cost of this program.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does JFO do a sort of summary of all the sort of all those kinds of, all the TIF type things, all of the like current use and all those things
Yes.
that come off? Do you have a summary of that somewhere?
We do, I will put in a plug for the,
That's it.
it's fairly thick, yes, the tax expenditure report.
Oh, it's just included in the tax expenditure report. It's not a separate report on here. Here are all the hits to the ed fund kind of report.
So yes, the tax expenditure report does include property tax expenditures of current uses outside of the definition of the report. So it lives separately, but that information is in the PDR annual report in terms of tax expenditure, but tax increment financing is in the tax expenditure report. I will say it's more of a figure estimate and a short kind of blurb about the statutory reference. So it doesn't have a lot of detail, but for categorizing all the different expenditures out of the education fund, the property or the tax expenditure report is like.
And it is reported to the emergency board once a year.
Cause it doesn't show up on the like ed fund, just, you know, like summary.
Yeah. Because we don't know how much we did collect. Okay, committee.